Oh shit, we are live. Wes, I hit the button, it did the thing, and now we're here. It's just the two of us. Welcome to another edition of the MMA analysis, everyone. Thank you for joining us. A week off? Was it 1 week off? Was it 2 weeks off? I don't know. Felt like a long time.
Yeah, it was good to get a break in. There were still fights going on. I did partake in a little PFL action. It wasn't too awful bad. They're handing out money over there like they got mob ties or some shit. Who knows anymore with those guys? They did announce they bought the old belly.
Mexico,
I'm
baby.
kind of glad they're gonna keep I don't think people realize at this point how long Bellator has been around and how many shows that they've done. Like I went to one of the really early first shows. They did it like how cities have like their 4th Street Live downtown. It's
Yep.
like an open area, bar area and shit. They put a cage up down there. It was like Bellator 4, 5, or 6, something, one of the early ones. So I was like
in Louisville, or was that
yeah.
They went to like Kansas City a bunch of times?
No, it was here in Louisville.
Okay,
They did an outdoor show and shit really early on. So like yeah, Billy's been around for a long time. Got some good talent over there. So yeah, but they announced that this weekend. So there was things going on. Fantastic boxing happened. So the fight sports are always popping. Ate a lot of food Thursday and
it was the old Thanksgiving for you guys down south.
Yeah, and then they, the tradition like no others, they serve you up horrible fucking NFL football on Thursdays, like that product. We won't get
that
into
happens
that.
every Thursday. That's not just Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's almost every Sunday at this point. That product is almost unwatchable. And that's coming from a fucking football fanatic. That shit's bad. But yeah, good week off. For sure. Good to be back.
A lot more people just constantly complaining about football, and not just like complaining about the refs or the stupid coaches. They're just like, this is actually really bad.
when the league consists of like, I'd say probably 20 just unplayable quarterbacks, literally 20 or so at this point. Like last year, if you remember, NFL totals were hitting in the 50s, like consistently. Lines were 50, 48, 49, 51 plus. I mean, we see total NFL totals in the 30s this year. That's just because of how bad the product, how bad quarterbacks are. But I mean, like if I wasn't like betting NFL and had that and fantasy football and shit in it, I mean, the best way to watch an NFL football game now is almost like UFC level. Record it, and it's almost perfect because you can watch a play, hit your 30-second fast forward button, and they're literally lining up for the next play. It's 30 seconds in between every play. Then you might have 2 plays and it's a review or a commercial or fucking
penalty or
It's bad. It is bad, man.
It's tough. I'm with you, LR. I don't really. I'll tune into the occasional Lions game. Luckily, I was distracted on Thursday because not a holiday up here, so I didn't have to watch that shit. But yeah, it's not for me. I like the continuous action. I can't do the stop and start of the NFL. But we're not here to talk about football. We're here to talk about some face punchy. I don't think we need to go back to 2 weeks and relive the anti-Semitism that happened inside of the cage. Heartbreaking to us all. Except the Elon dorks, probably. What was that?
Like, was there anything that even happened on that card? Like, even looking back, it doesn't seem like there was any.
It's like Rebus did her spin kick. I guess that was kind of cool. Still looked kind of weird and awkward.
And
but
the burrito ninja choke, yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah.
That one pissed me off because I was talking up burrito and I was talking up the submission, and then I just ended up going round 1 sub.
Oh,
fucker did it in round 2, and yeah. Oh well. Shit happens. Anyway, we won't bore you with those details. We're going to look forward. They're in an actual arena this week, which means we get an actual card. This is a good fight night card.
Yeah. Yeah, not too bad.
4 good fights on this card. It's crazy.
I was gonna say there's some trash on this card, but it's when you can get 4 or 5 really good fights on it, you got a winner for sure.
And I'm in a good mood. We got NLL starting this weekend, so I'll be flipping back and forth to my heart's content.
I saw Brad in the old spaces talking up, getting ready for the betting season. I almost dipped in, but something happened. I can't remember, but almost dipped into.
You got a kid, and I'm just gonna send you whatever I'm playing anyway.
Yeah, so I don't need to. I don't need to. I don't need to know how the.
What do you want to know how the sausage gets made?
I was gonna say whatever the stick is that you use gets made, but we'll go with sausage. I can't remember the name. Lacrosse stick, right? Fucking lacrosse stick.
Yeah, lacrosse stick. That's all it is. We're not confusing people. Anyway, UFC Austin coming up this weekend. Benny Dariush, Arm & Hammer Tsarukyan. Nice lightweight main event. Main card is like pretty much all 155 or like the lighter weights, the WEC weights, as I like to call them. And as such, we've got a good main card, but we're gonna have to pour our way through a little bit of crap before we get to that main card, and we are going to kick it off. Women's flyweight division. Veronica Hardy, I feel like she used to have a different name, taking on Jamie Lynn Horth. She's scary. She looks a little bit like the Canadian MTG. A little disconcerting the way that she's looking at me in this picture right now.
Jesus, I don't know if I'd go that. That's like saying like low down shit about somebody at this point.
Well, she's like making a face too, so I don't know if that has to do with it. I'll have to go find another picture, but this one on Tapology is no bueno.
She got some sleepwalker nose going on that. That's for sure. It's MTG like. Yeah, I don't really have too much on this. I think don't even really think this is kind of a dog or pass chick type fight. I think Horse should probably fuck up Veronica Hardy. No plays on this fight for me. If I was maybe looking at some Horth props, like her inside the distance is some okay plus money. The under 2.5 is some plus money. I could see her getting a stoppage here. I think Hardy's just really shitty. Horth has some finishes on her record, but of course, some bad chicks up until her LFA win. That was against a decent opponent. But her first UFC fight, of course, she fights an okay chick, and it's a 15-minute shitty decision. So that's probably what's going to happen here. So best bet is probably just stay away. But I think Horth wins this fight.
Veronica Hardy has been in the UFC since 2016.
That's wild.
That is, and in that time, she's got 6 fights. Just real active. Just keeps it, tip-top schedule there. Yeah, I got nothing on this one. Wes, if I gave you plus 1,000 on me watching this fight, would you take it?
There's probably no value in that bet. I might need double that.
I think that is correct. So we are going to move on. Welterweight division. We got the old Wellington turd man taking on Jared Gooden. I almost said Jared Gordon. Very different people. Very different.
Yeah.
What do we got here?
I'm just now noticing that the turd man's nickname is the Prodigy. Like, come on, bro. That does not fit whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, I like the Turd Man in this fight. Turd Man down at 170 is not the worst thing he's ever done. Um, I think he's just his couple fights down there, he's ran into a couple guys that were just bad matchups for him. Like Petrovsky is just better than him on the mat, and then of course Randy Brown is just a little better than him on the feet, and that's just how those fights took place. I think the Turd Man's probably a little better in both areas than Jared Gordon or Good. Obviously, I'm doing it too. Um, I just I know they gave I think they gave Gooden a short notice fight, him coming back to the UFC, which was a fucking decision lost to old fucking Carlton doing the dance on him. So he's not good, bro. So I'm not running out to lay minus 190 on the Turd Man, that's for sure. But I think the Turd Man by decision might be a decent bet here, and that is there's a lot of props out everywhere, but it's 150 plus 155 at Bet Online right now. I don't think that's a bad stab. I think he can get it done over 15 minutes here. Probably a pretty boring, shitty fight where not a lot of big things happen in favor of the Turd Man.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried about his chin coming down to 170, but seems to be okay so far. I don't think that Gooden's the one to really test it too much. His one UFC win was a knockout over one of the bad German guys. I forget his name right now. But anyway, he doesn't have huge power. So I think this is going to play out like a Turd Man fight. It's going to be in the clinch. He's going to fail on a lot of takedown attempts. Eventually, he'll get some top control. I don't think Gooden is going to be able to really keep him off him. His grappling is not impressive in pretty much any realm, takedown defense or once he actually hits the mat. So yeah, I'm with you. I was looking more at the over 2.5. I know that it's kind of juicy, minus 155 out there, minus 160 in that area. But I could be persuaded to flip that over to Third Man decision, because that is the clear path to me in this one. And we will take a clear path to the light heavyweight division, where Ihor Petiria taken on Rodolfo Bellato. He's in the wrong promotion. There's a whole one named after him. Doesn't even fight there. Is that just dumb moves, or what's going on here?
I got some PTSD with dudes named Rodolfo here over the past few years. They're just I don't know about these Brazilians named Rodolfo. I think you gotta probably like him in this fight, but man, this is we've talking before the show. There's some pretty large favorites on this card and some spots that seem not that they're shaky. I don't think they're gonna win. It's just, man, would we be shocked if Ihor caught something on this guy? Like he's coming off like a Contender Series win this season against an absolute fucking bum. Like there was so many bums coming off this season this year. I mean, he's got some okay wins at LFA and stuff, but I mean, he got knocked the fuck out like last season, a Contender Series, won a couple fights. They gave him a bum. He did what he had to do eventually. If I can remember that fight right, he was still like really slow to get the guy out of there and stuff. I think it went a couple rounds and shit before he even got the guy out of there. So look, he should probably win here, but there's no way I'm laying that kind of price on him here. I think he's up at like minus 400 or something at this point. I would look at the under, man, but I don't know. I got a feeling that if Ihor, he's going to come out blazing. And if he doesn't catch him, Bellato could start slowing this down, clinching and grabbing and shit. So it kind of makes a 1.5 a little shaky. It probably happens that way. I'm going to pick Rodolfo, but man, I could see a dozen different things happening in this fight. So it's just a complete pass for me.
I don't hate the idea of a 1.5 here, going over the 1.5. I don't understand if Rodolfo knows what he's good at in fighting.
Yeah.
Because like he was favored over Petrino on the Contender Series. That was a rematch for them when he got knocked out real quick the first time, and then he dropped Petrino in that one, and then ended up getting knocked out shortly thereafter. So he seems to have a bit more success when he goes to his grappling. I think that would probably be the prudent course of action in this fight. But I don't trust that he's going to do that. And if this just turns into two sloppy dudes swanging on the feet early in the fight, could certainly see Ihor. We got Ihor against Rodolfo. It's the Ho Derby, the Hoedown Showdown in this one.
The whole derby.
I could certainly see a path to victory for Ihor in this one. Just this is the type of guy, Bellato, not really tickling my fancy to lay -400 on this dude. Pass for me, but leaning towards a dog and maybe just a sloppy, ugly over in this fight. Featherweight division, Steve Garcia taking on the Milk Weasel. I feel bad about that. I made that up before I ever saw the dude, and now I gotta stick, because now it would be bad if I stopped saying it after seeing him. Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, I mean, now that's discrimination right there.
That's right.
Just wants to be treated like equal.
Everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, has anything ever landed more perfectly? That's like a Kerry Strug fucking landing off of the pommel. Fucking Milk Weasel on this dude turns out to look like he got splattered with fucking paint. That's pretty good. Pretty fucking good. I'm leaning old Steve Garcia in this fight, man. I think Steve Garcia is fucking very durable. Puts a pace out there. The dude will throw punches. I think the Milk Weasel's pretty good. It's no like shame in getting. He did kind of get smoked, but it's no shame in getting smoked by Thiago Moises. Like that was a massive, massive step up for that guy at that point. Lingo fight. Yeah, Lingo fight is a little bit different. That I mean, he won that fight pretty convincingly, but going 15 with Lingo, that just I don't know. This is a close fight. I just think fight this close, you got a durable guy like Garcia that's going to have that has the output that he's going to have, always favored by the judges. So, man, what's he said, that plus 220 or so right now. That's probably going to be a bet for me. I was also looking at the over 1.5 here. I know like Garcia is a fast starter, but the Milk Weasel really isn't. He usually takes his time to get going. And I think if this gets out of the first, it's probably going to go 15 minutes. So, man, I bet online's got like a -135. I think that's really, really nice on a 1.5 in almost any featherweight fight. There's some dudes that crack, we all know who they are, but for the lower top 20 dudes and stuff, -1.5 at 145, I don't think that's a bad spot either.
Yeah, if you're a featherweight in the UFC, we crack about UFC caliber and all that sort of stuff. But if you're a featherweight, a bantamweight, a flyweight in the UFC, you're good. You're a capable fighter everywhere. Yeah. And both of these guys, not great by any means, not future title contenders or anything like that, but they're both capable fighters. I'm kind of with you on the over 1.5. I think that's a cheap price. A few weeks ago we had a random pair of flyweights that you were like, yes, over 2.5 plus money. It was kind of just taking it because that's the way fights go. I could see this being very much the same thing, except you don't have to worry about the whole 15 minutes. It's just got to go 7.5. So I think I'm more with you on the over 1.5 than I am on old Steve. But yeah, we might be in the same boat on that one when it comes to the over. Like what you're thinking there, Wes. Lightweight division, Joseph Solecki taking on Drakkar Noir. He's back. He feels like he's been in the UFC for a decade and has about 6 fights.
Well, I mean, when you got to deal with the whiplash, I mean, it's hard to come back from about a whiplash, dog. You know.
That is true. That is very true.
It is. I got to go down as some of the most baby soft shit that we've ever seen, bro. Yeah, look, I mean, Close is 35 now. Coming off like over a year layoff. His last fight, this guy was going life and death with Rafa Garcia. And like, that's not a horrible thing per se. You know, like Rafa Garcia is a pretty tough out, but that dude's not skilled. Like, you know what you're getting from old Rafa Garcia. He's gonna be durable, he's gonna push a pace and shit. Close was having problems with that, man. I think Close is way more talented than Rafa Garcia. I just think the dude's getting old and brittle and starting to break down, taking this layoff. Like, sometimes we talk about that's good for dudes, but he's not coming off like some brutal beating. Like, good long layoffs are good off of shit like that.
Yeah, he's dealing with the ACL, I believe.
Oh, it's ACL. Okay. But to my point, another injury, another thing wrong with the guy. Look, I don't think Selecki's great, but man, you know what you're going to get out of him. I can't see Close like clocking Selecki and getting him out of there. And that's going to make this a very close fight. I think Selecki's got a massive, like, pure grappling advantage here. Close has probably got the better wrestling per se, the takedowns. But if this hits the mat and they start scrambling and rolling, like, Selecki is way better than Close on the mat. On the feet, yeah, Close is probably a little better, but man, we've seen him get clocked lately too. Like, that chin is starting to show some cracks in it and stuff. So, man, at Selecki at even money here, it's probably something I'm gonna have to take a little bit of. And if Close comes out and looks like his old self from fucking 3-4 years ago now, it's been a long time since Close has looked really good. If that version shows up, then so be it. He probably beats Selecki, but I have a hard time seeing at this point that Drakkar Close walking through the door anymore. I think he's just older, starting to break down fighter he's switching camps and shit. Like, that happened a couple years ago too. He left the lab and shit, and they went to another. They were kind of revolting from the lab and started their own little gym and shit. Like, that's never good. Like, 2 or 3 fighters leaving a big gym like that and going like, we're gonna do our own thing. That never works out good. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
did they
all of those things.
The Parm provider or something at the lab? Is that what caused the exodus?
I mean, did our boy Lou come in with a bad batch of sauce one week or something? They're not standing for that. I like Selecki here. He's gonna be a bet for me.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be betting him, but man, there was a time when I thought that Drakkar Close was going to be something. And then he started getting like kind of questionable decisions in fights, and he did win the Rafa Garcia fight. No doubt about that.
Yeah,
that was pretty clear, 2-1. But yeah, he's struggling. He seems to be struggling. Like you said, even getting to the cage is a problem for him. But certainly staying in fights and staying active in fights seems to be an even bigger issue for him as he gets older and older, and now he's coming off a knee injury. The only reason I can't pull the trigger on Selecki right now, no power to speak of, and the wrestling doesn't really impress me. As you said, Close is probably the better wrestler here, so could definitely see this fight playing out where Close is just keeping it in the clinch, hold him up against the cage, running down the minutes, and yeah, that's about it. So I don't know if Selecki's going to have one of those magical hop on his back type moments where he can steal a round or two in this fight. If he doesn't, I think it's just going to be tough sledding the way that it matches up. So I think close by decision is going to be my pick, but I do not feel good about that one bit. Middleweight division, some undefeated guy named Zach Reese, 6-0. That's got to be good. No, it doesn't. Taking on Cody Brundage, who, I mean, we definitely know that's not good. So what do we got here?
Hey, Cody Brundage is coming off a fucking stoppage win. Like, slow down against the god Jacob Malkoun, you know. Yeah, look, Cody Brundage is one of the worst fighters on the UFC roster. Like, no bullshit. That guy's very, very bad.
He out dumbass.
Yeah.
That's an
Yeah.
accomplishment. I thought dumbass had dumbass of the year locked up. No, sir. Cody Brundage coming in, swooping in, stealing that from him.
I like Zach Reese here, but man, this is another one to where it's hard to lay that kind of price on a guy coming off this season of Contender Series. He showed up though and did the business, did what he was supposed to do. Pretty much done that against everybody. Look, Brundage always gets into mat scrambles and shit and stuff. I think this is gonna hit the mat eventually, and Zach Reese has fucking got subs and ground and pound and shit. Like, I think he's gonna look. Brundage gets worked over by everybody that takes him to the mat. I think that's what's gonna happen here. I like Reese. I don't know, like him inside. I think it's gonna happen inside the distance, but I just can't narrow down if it's gonna be a sub or a ground and pound KO. And his inside the distance is only like 30 cents better than his money line. So if I end up playing it, it's probably just going to be his money line in some sort of parlay. I don't know. Maybe I'll look into it a little more and I can find the exact path. I lean a sub. The dude's armbar game is pretty nice and shit, but I don't know, man. It's just another tough one where a guy coming off the Contender Series is minus 230. He is fighting an absolute bum though. So deserved, big deserved favorite here.
There would have been a time where the Contender Series guy coming in at minus 230 or whatever would be an auto fade. And does it say something? It has to say something bad. That's not the case anymore, right? Like, you can come off of Contender Series fighting some nobody and fight an even worse guy in the UFC roster.
Yeah, because you and your competition that you performed against on the Contender Series league, people are like, I don't, this guy's, let's give him another bum. You know what I'm saying? We got to see more, Yeah.
I did not see his Contender Series fight, so I do not have an opinion on this one. I do have an opinion on Cody Brundage, and it's not the greatest one. Yeah, so we'll see how this plays out, but I'm gonna stay away and see if I can learn something about Zach Reese in this fight. The prelim headliner. I don't know if they're trying to sell some pay-per-views or something with this one. The hot mom fight, apparently, according to Julia Avila, who is apparently a fighter on the UFC roster. Who knew? Taking on old Cupcakes. Who's all of that right now? She's got kids and everything, but we're allowed to say that. Miesha Tate, one of the biggest draws ever in women's MMA on prelims of Fight Night. She's back. People can't wait, Wes. People are over the moon about this. Well, what are your thoughts?
Misha's back doing it for the love of the game because she don't need the money. I mean, coming off that Big Brother celebrity win, a couple years back, like, yeah, she got to be flush in cash,
Well, and we know because we've heard it from all the UFC fans that she's been paid millions of dollars. It doesn't matter like what the paperwork says. She's been paid more than what's on paperwork, because why would the UFC lie about that?
Tell me how much of a noob you are if you don't know about the Dana backroom fucking payments, like fucking noob shit. We all know Dana gives them these fucking just wads of cash. The Nelk boys handing bags of money and he just hands it to the fighters. You know what I'm saying? Like, Dana hanging out with like 22-year-olds playing blackjack and shit at like 50. This shit is just weird to me, bro. So fucking weird.
He found the dumbest people that he could so that he could just continue the Dana grift. It's brilliant. It's probably the smartest thing that he's done in his entire career.
He ranks up there on the fucking grifter scale. I'll give him that. There's a true number one, but Dana definitely falls into the top echelon.
Hey, Dana hasn't even tried to run for president yet, so I'm gonna fucking tell on that one. All right.
Yeah.
In the next 10 years, Dana runs for president. Not like probably not a serious run, but he's one of those dudes that he'll announce it. He'll do the publicity bullshit.
He's more like a Ron Paul kind of is what he's gonna be. I mean, look, in the next,
he's gonna be like Ross Perot punching through his hat.
The next 10 to 15 years, you might see a fucking presidential showdown between Dana White and The Rock, and that is no bullshit. Like straight up, that is no bullshit whatsoever.
I need it. Need it.
Yeah,
this WrestleMania, baby. That's where they have the debate, and then the debate just turns into a wrestling match. Maybe for the old like hardcore belt, get a couple chairs in there, a few tables. Dana's on the supplements. He could make that work.
Dana is on the best shit, literally the best shit money can buy. Like straight up. That
you think he gets it from The Rock?
Probably. Dana talking about he got that body from doing like 6-day fastings or some shit. Like, shut up, motherfucker.
Exercise, baby. You know how we do.
Classic shit. Half bald, fucked up teeth Dana doing boxer size. Yeah. Good shit.
I love every once in a while I'll go back and watch some of the old events from like the UFC 30s, UFC 40s, that sort of stuff before the they tried to pretty him up for Tough. That was a hilarious looking dude.
Yeah, he held onto that hair for a long fucking time, didn't he, bro?
And I know a thing or two about that. So
yeah, we're all getting to that point. That's for fucking sure.
Anyway, anything we need to discuss on this fight?
So let's see. We were talking about somebody. This Avia chick. She's been in the UFC for like 5 or 6 years now too, and has 4 or 5 fights. She hasn't fought in like 2.5 years. Like, I don't know what the fuck she's been doing. She ain't been in the cage in 2.5. Miesha Tate has fought one celebrity big brother, come back ready to fight again since the last time this chick has been in the cage. Look, I think Miesha is like pretty washed at this point, but seeing her as a dog to this chick is just wild to me. And I will be betting Miesha Tate here as an underdog to an absolute bum who hasn't fought in 2.5 years. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I will say I think Miesha Tate, like, she fucked up real bad trying to go down and weight and shit this late in her career. Like, I don't know what the fuck she was thinking with all that. Just blow up, shoot whatever you got to shoot up, and wrestle these chicks. Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? You don't need to be skinny trying to box with chicks. You ain't making no title run. Fucking stay buffed up, wrestle this chick, get an easy decision. I like
Get that
Misha
check.
Tate, not at all. Yep.
Yeah, haven't seen Avia in forever. She wasn't impressive when she did fight. Misha's washed. Worst.
She's worst. My son is already like fucking.
Is that his first word? Worst.
No, but what he says when he says water, he's already got that war in there instead of the why. He's already doing it, bro.
How does it feel growing up watching that? It's just like, oh shit, he sounds like me.
Yeah. I mean, the dude looks exactly like me. Might as well sound as fucking redneck as me too. Fuck it.
So now we just need to get him into all the niche sports. Well, I guess not niche sports. You like your normal sports as well. Yeah, I'm going to pass. There is a slightly higher chance that I would be watching this fight, just because it's taking place closer to the actual fights that I'm interested in. But I still put it at like plus 500. Let's not get crazy here, okay? Main card, middleweight division, Puna Soriano taking on Dustin Stoltzfus. Wesley.
Yeah, not a whole lot here. I like Puna in this fight. I think his power is going to play a big part here if he lands on Stoltzfus. Man, we've seen that chin. I think Puna can land here. I like Soriano at one point. I thought he could be pretty good, and he's just another guy. He's just in a fucking watered down sport at this point. He's just another dude. So I don't think you can go out and lay minus 300 here. Maybe Soriano inside the distance, but you're not really getting much there. Even his TKO is only like plus 120. So I don't know there. I just don't see a ton of value in betting Soriano here. I think he smokes Stoltzfus, think he knocks him out, but man, how many fights have we seen Soriano in at this point to where he should knock a dude out? He's bombing on a guy and then he gets clipped. I wouldn't be shocked if that happens, even though Stoltzfus couldn't fucking knock me out probably. So I just got some bad experiences with Puna over the past few years. So I do think he gets it done though. I think he knocks out Stoltzfus. I just think the line is a little wide.
I think I might be asking the wrong person. We need to get some Dan Tom or some Aaron Water show to answer this question. But does Puna have the worst chin of a Hawaiian ever? Right? Is it because like he went from Hawaii to Iowa or some shit, and then he was like, "Oh, I gotta make myself one of these rednecks that doesn't have a chin." So
that like to just wrestle and hump on people instead of getting punched and building up that chin strength. When you're Hawaiian, you're on the sand fucking throwing bungalows all day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you gotta go out and fight your share of old men at bars, and then it's done. Actually, when you start getting knocked out by those old men.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you get to be like, 50 and fucking applesauce brain, you got an excuse as a Hawaiian to start getting your ass knocked out. But I can't think of a Hawaiian with a bad chin. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like, they just can't come to my head, man. Island guys, they're different.
Built different. Luckily for him, Dustin Stoltzfus, not a guy with a tremendous amount of power. He did take down Joe Piper once, and Piper stuck his arm out like an idiot and busted it. I'm not sure that he has any like actual knockouts on his record. I can't remember if the Jonas Bilstein win was on the feet or on the ground. Jonas Bilstein, also Bellator vet from back in the day. So, man, it's kind of gotta be Puna here, but it's another one where like minus 300 on this dude just does not feel like a thing that I want to bet. I'd almost be tempted. Again, looking at a slightly juiced over, you're looking at like minus 150, minus 155 for the 1.5 here. Maybe Puna's a bit more cautious. Stoltzfus seems to have, like, I know he got knocked out in like 3 seconds by the bus. He got hit by a bus in that one, but normally he seems relatively durable. So if I'm looking at anything in this fight, probably looking at the over 1.5 and hope for a hideous one. Speaking of, there was a time where no Clay Guida fights were hideous. They were all just like hair flopping and getting punched in the face and scrambles and shit like that. They're starting to get a little harder to watch these days. He's taking on Joaquim Silva. Do you think that the terrible reviews for Napoleon are going to hurt or help this Joaquim? So you have to, like, after Joaquin Phoenix was in that shitty movie, he's got to like lift up the name, or do you think it's going to drag him down, Wes?
Are parts of Silva's life absolute lies? You know, like, are we telling a different story than what actually happened about Silva? That's got to be the question.
I mean, his nickname is Neto BJJ, and I've never seen him go for a takedown or attempt a submission. So, kinda.
So he's Joaquim Silva, Joaquin Phoenix, same fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Look, we was talking like it's just this is straight up Pinkman to me. It's just Walter White. Like, this man cannot keep fucking getting away with this. It's starting to happen. Like, Guida is
being Guida, of course.
Guida, right? It's starting to happen. Like, he's like the Holtzman shit. Like, just this guy pulling out shit. The old half. It was still like Guida was trying to make it a Guida fight, and that one, like, I think Silva starches him, man. Like, I this point, I think Clay has hit that spot. Like, I think you were getting really good value and prices on him here the past couple of years. He was a big dog to these dudes and was in these fights, you know, was going to split decisions and shit and still in some rounds and stuff. And I still thought there was value on his big numbers against guys that he should clearly lose against. But I think that's over. I think Silva is going to fucking knock out Clay Guida. One way or the other, it's going to be a beating, and I like Silva here. I'm probably gonna go ahead and parlay him. I do kind of feel that it's another one of those wide lines on this card. That's a little shaky. It's still Clay, even though I think that run is done. It's still fucking Guida. And you got a Brazilian dude that's minus 300 against him that doesn't grapple. Like Brad says, it's going to be on the feet. Does Guida do his fucking dance and shit and still around from the judges like he seems to do constantly? That's a worry, but I like Silva here. I think he gets the knockout. I didn't look and see what his KO is. Let me look at that. Yeah, Silva KO is like plus 225 at Bet Online. That's a massive difference. Like, from minus 300 to plus 225. I think it's definitely worth a stab. So, yeah, I like Silva here. I think he ends all this Clay Guida fucking feel good bullshit and puts a beating on the old man.
Yeah, I think this is one of those ones where it just comes down to the fighters physically. There was a time in Guida's career where he would have been durable enough and had the volume to just hustle Silva to a decision. Yeah. But that has long passed, and I just think he's kind of going to get physically overwhelmed in this fight. So, yeah, it's the way that it's lined as far as totals go, and like the over 2.5 being plus money, like that makes me think that this should be even more in Silva's favor, even though it's already minus 300, which is a scary thing to say against a guy that can steal decisions. But minus 300, the under 2.5, is a minus number, and you can get him to knock out Clay Guida at plus 225. I know that Guida hasn't been knocked out a lot, but they've also been kind of protecting him with the matchmaking. He hasn't faced a lot of big strikers. And when he has, it was guys that would kind of rock him and go for a sub or do things like that. And Neto BJJ don't play that shit. He'll yell jujitsu in his post-fight interview, but he don't do jujitsu during the fight. So I can see that knockout coming. I may join you for like a half unit or something on that Silva TKO prop. Now we get to the good stuff. We've got like 4 quality fights in a row. I'm gonna watch all of these. They're hopefully going to be entertaining. We're going to kick it off. Welterweight division. Sean Brady, Kelvin Gastelum, the fat still am skinny again, baby. Maybe. This is Wednesday. We still got a couple days to know how much that Thanksgiving dinner hit him. If he's going to come in at like 178 or some shit like that. But interesting welterweight matchup. What do you got, Wes?
Yeah, you got Kelvin down at 170. You definitely want to get him like middle of Thanksgiving, Christmas. Definitely don't get him like after both holidays. Like that's just bad matchmaking. You know what I'm saying? Try to catch just that middle ground. Look, man, if Kelvin makes the 170 clean, I think we've seen Kelvin down at 170 when he's like engaged and healthy and on weight. The dude is a fucking tank at 170. And there's been nobody that consistently takes Kevin Gastelum down at 170 outside of like we talked about Whitaker a little bit. And then
even that was 185. Yeah.
Yeah. And even at 185, like that's it, man. So I have a really hard time seeing Sean Brady getting consistent takedowns on Gastelum here. And if this is on the feet and kickboxing, I've watched Kevin Gastelum literally have fucking Adesanya fucking half knocked out on the feet. I just watched Brady get pieced the fuck up by Bilal Muhammad in a fucking boxing match. I really like Gastelum in this fight. If he Even if he misses weight, that's not really going to scare me off of him at this point because I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's better if he is on weight and engaged and ready to go. I just, like I said, the matchup I just think is bad for Brady here. Brady does not have the kickboxing I think to hang with Kevin Gastelum. There's not a lot of guys I think that do at 170. So. Man, Brady, I think Brady's going to be spamming a lot of takedowns. I could see Brady getting tired spamming takedowns in this fight and Gastelum just shucking him the fuck off, man. Gastelum's fucking defensive wrestling is upper echelon, man. It always has been. That's never been a problem for him. His hands have gotten just better and better and better over the years too. The guy's a really good boxer. So, man, I think this is a kickboxing match. I think he pieces Brady up, getting Gastelum here at a dog price. I guess he's a dog here because of just unknowns. Like where's Gastelum at? I know he canceled on his last fight. He's back down at 170. So there is questions and unknowns, but I think that's what's priced into the line at this point. If all things were equal and you knew where Gastelum's head was and he was on point, I think he'd be a minus 170, minus 185 in this fight. So I think there's massive value on Gastelum as a dog in this fight, and it's probably my favorite spot on the entire board.
I would fracture my face also if I was scheduled to fight the Shave Cat. So
yeah, exactly.
Can't blame Kelvin for that one. I kind of like the idea of him going back to 170. It's almost like when he fought Chris Curtis last time, he was like, hey, this fighting guys that are the same size as me thing, that's not so bad. Yeah. That fight happened at middleweight, but he was fighting another welterweight up there. And I just looked it up as you were talking. The guys that have taken Kelvin Gastelum down multiple times, there's been 2 of them at welterweight. Neil Magny back in 2015. I mean, some people just get Magny Medoffed. And that was actually that was a weird fight. That one played backwards from what we all thought was going to happen, because Magny did well early and then Gastelum started to beat the shit out of him late, and people were all confused by that. Anyway, the other one was Nico Musoke. Swedish legend Nico Musoke. But Gastelum ended up winning that. I don't think he ended up on his back for more than 10 seconds at a time. All the other times he's been taken down multiple times, it's been middleweights, and not shitty middleweights. Robert Whittaker, Chris Weidman, and one shitty middleweight, Tim Kennedy, because that dude's garbage. But other than that, he's got good takedown defense. He's a good scrambler if he does get taken down. The hands in this fight are just light years apart. That was an awful look from Brady in that Bilal fight. It's going to take me a while to get over that, but it's not even like that was shocking, because he was kind of desperate to get Chiesa down, just from body kicks and stuff like that Chiesa was landing in their fight. I don't love much of anything about Brady's game, and I don't think this is a great matchup for him. So I'm hopping on board with you. We're going to take some Kelvin Gastelum. Maybe we need to drop a little nickname, Kelvin Not So Gastelum, when he's down at welterweight. But Bet Online plus 110. We're locking that in for the consensus bet of the week. Actually, I just refreshed. I think it moved to plus 100. We'll still take that. If there's any plus 105s out there, I see DraftKings has plus 105. So that's widely available. I'm sure when Sean listens to this and does all the editing, he's having a kid, by the way. Congratulations.
Our boy, becoming a man.
That's right. Teenage father. But yeah, plus 105 for Kelvin Gastelum is widely available out there. So we will go with that as the consensus bet of the week. Moving on and down to the bantamweight division, although one of these competitors is moving up. Just throwing curveballs everywhere in here, Wes. Rob Font taking on the former flyweight champion, Davison Figueiredo. This is a great fight.
Yeah, this is great all around. Interesting, ranking, could have some implications in the rankings and stuff. Figgy moving up. I think it's a good move for Figgy at this point. I think over the past couple years, it has been really hard for that dude to make that weight. He's missed the weight, even when he makes it, and he the one time that he trucked Moreno, it seemed like everything had worked out just right. His weight cut was good. It didn't fuck with him. He didn't have the cardio problem shit. But every other time, man, these weight cuts seem like they're just hampering his performance. And it's not like I think this dude is going to be he's going to be shorter, but we know he's going to be fucking jacked up here. Figgy is on the yams. He's on the good fucking yams, and he's gonna be jacked up here. Then just when it comes to breaking down the fight, man, for me personally, I think this is an interesting fight, but I just think Figgy hits hard. I think he hits hard, and I think Rob Font, we've seen the chin. We've seen the chin now. I think Brad will talk about it. Not just the chin, the damage that adds up on Font at this point. Is Darren a fight. Elkins. Yeah, I mean, he ain't no Darren Elkins, but I mean, at this point, is there a fight that goes by where Rob Font doesn't come out looking like the fucking Elephant Man? Like something on his face is literally growing. I mean, when Figgy starts tagging that face, I mean, we could see some more orbital problems and shit for Font in a fight. I think that's probably going to happen. Um, I think whenever Figgy wants to, he could get takedowns on Font. Font's takedown defense is atrocious. Like most guys usually stand up and box with him, but his takedown defense isn't great at this point. Chin isn't great. Damage. Man, you're getting a dog price on Figgy. Just a few unknowns about the moving up weight. I think that's to his benefit personally. So for me at a dog price, I think you got to take a little shot on Figgy here and see how it plays out at him up at a new weight class.
Yeah, even his wins these days, Rob Font is looking like he's heading to the corner, being like, "Cut me, Mick, cut me, I can't see out there." He gets hit by anything, and I think it's his right orbital will just immediately be like, "Nope, I'm good. I've had enough."
His only win in like 3 or 4 years now was the Yanez win, and Yanez was literally fucking had him deformed before he caught him. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I had Font there as a dog, and I would love to say it was a great bet, but man, I was puckered watching that one. So, yeah, we're gonna have to go with Vicky here. He's gonna struggle closing the distance. I don't think that the size and the reach is as much of a difference as people are gonna think. I will gladly take Figgy not having to cut that extra 10 pounds. He's probably going to be smiling on the scale on Friday, pulling a cheeseburger out of his pocket like some old Eve Edwards shit. There's this point with guys that decide they're not going to cut weight anymore, that they just are happier about fighting. And I think we're going to see that point with him, and it's going to show up in the performance. He's going to get jabbed a bunch, but at some point he is going to mess Rob Font's face up. And even if it's like the Aldo fight where he doesn't get him out of there, but he lands enough big stuff to win rounds, or the Vera fight where he did the same thing, or not he did the same thing, but Font had the same thing happen to him. I like Figgy. I'll take Figgy as a dog in this spot, and we'll move it on up to the co-main event. Lightweight division. Bobby Green riding high. Main event winner in the UFC. Taking on Jalen Turner. Wesley.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that was a lucky punch because I had Bobby Green like plus 500 or something like that, but that was a pretty fucking lucky. It's beautiful. It was beautiful. Yeah, that was like that was a good hit. That was one of the fun ones this year for sure. But I mean, coming back around, it takes Bobby Green getting something like that to like have a good performance outside of the ghost of fucking Tony at this point. Bobby Green is still Bobby Green. I think Jalen Turner is very, very good, notwithstanding his past 2 fights. I don't take a lot in those losses away from him. Like the Garmont, like we know who Garmont is at this point, and Turner was like putting it on that dude late in that fight. Same with Hooker, like putting it. I think he shattered Hooker's fucking arm and shit late in that fight. I don't think he's gonna have as much problem with like being down rounds going into the third in this one against Bobby, because Bobby doesn't do anything to like those guys do. Like Germont and Hooker are just super fast starters and they're on you. So I don't think Turner's going to be down a couple rounds going into the third in this fight. I'm not sure this goes 15, probably just because Bobby doesn't really engage much, but man, Turner's length and striking and shit, he's probably not going to have to worry about Bobby shooting takedowns on him and shit. That's just not Bobby Green's game. He usually wants to stand up and strike. I think that's a problem for Bobby Green in this fight. I think Jalen Turner is a fucking phenomenal fucking kickboxer at this point, and I think he probably eventually lands something on Bobby Green and gets him out of there personally. But I don't mind this price. I mean, you're getting Jalen Turner at around minus 200. I actually think that's probably got something to do with Bobby's last performance, like him landing that one out of the blue shot and winning against a really good ranked guy. I think outside of that, if you're going off of his Ferguson win and anything before that, Turner would be more minus 350 here. So I think minus 200 is a great price on Jalen Turner against Bobby Green in this fight. I like Turner to get it done inside the distance as well. Probably KO. I'm not sure what that price was. I looked at it earlier. Let me look at it again.
I'll find it for you.
250, 280 instant shot.
Yeah.
Yep. So I don't mind a little shot on Turner by KO as well, but he'll definitely be in a parlay for me.
This one doesn't quite tip into the realm of, oh man, Bobby Green's plus 300 like he was against Grant Dawson. I gotta bet him. We know the rules. You never bet Bobby Green as a favorite. You just don't. You don't do it. You don't let your friends do it. Don't let anybody do it. We don't have to worry about that here. But usually when I'm betting Bobby, I like some plus 250, plus 300s. It just, the lines with him they vacillate so much. How about that word, Wes? Word of the day, vacillate.
You're on another plane than me, brother.
I just don't think that's there. As you said, Bobby Green is not going to throw a lot and force Jalen Turner into some sort of firefight, which Hooker and Gamrot both did in different ways. It's just not who he is. Never been who he is. He's going to give one round away in a fight just because he's Bobby Green, and that's what he does. So that means Turner just needs to win one round in this fight. And I think he is more than capable of doing that with the long-range weapons that he's got. Honestly, with the grappling in this fight too, I could see him getting a takedown and getting a solid position. If he doesn't find the sub, getting a round or two in there. Bobby's weirdly difficult to sub for a guy that's not a good grappler. But I'm with you. Jalen Turner in here for me. Don't really know about any props. It's just Green's such a tough guy to fight that I have to think this goes a little bit of distance. Might end up being silly and playing the over here and not having to sweat some Bobby Green scorecards because that's around even money. But yeah, I don't really. I'm picking Jalen Turner to win. I don't really see a great betting angle in this one. But maybe that's because we're coming up to the holidays. I'm not really looking too hard right now. We'll see what happens once we dive into some round props and methods and stuff like that come Friday, Saturday. But we've only got one more fight to dive into, Wes. Sticking in the lightweight division, Benny Dariush taking on Arman Tsarukyan. Good fight. Next title challenger, maybe? I don't know. Should be DuBronx. It should always be DuBronx, but UFC does silly things sometimes.
Yeah, this is a fucking great fight. And yeah, the next title shot should be DuBronx. Like absolutely. Like he was lined up to get the title shot, and the dummy is fucking going full on fucking scrapping in.
I don't believe it. I think
it was a horse accident.
She sent somebody into his camp. They're like, we will pay you the equivalent of 3 favelas worth of rubles to get a little cut on Charlie DuBronx in the training room. So I think there's
they tried to pay. Then they tried to pay him. He tried to pay him in 5-gallon fucking buckets of borscht. I think that they sent old Bob Baffert down there, and Bob Baffert put a needle in one of fucking Charlie's fucking horses, and when he went around the track, that motherfucker went crazy, bucked old Charlie off, and kicked him in the head. That's where
I can see it. They'll do anything to avoid fighting anywhere that there's a real commission. Did you see the other one, the Bellator Nurmagomedov, all hopped up on the steroids? Do you think it's just him in that camp that's getting the juice flowing through those veins? You gotta be shitting me. Cheaters,
I mean,
a whole lot of them.
It all comes down to who's got the actual dollars to get the legitimate shit. That's it. That's there's the haves and the have-nots when it comes to that shit. Yeah, this is a fantastic one. I think old Tsarukyan is the motherfucking truth, and I don't think I'm out on a limb with that. I think a lot of people feel that way. I personally think that he gets it done in this fight. I think he's got. He's got the on the feet. It's just the Benny chin is always there. Like it's just always there. It doesn't matter if Benny is the better striker than somebody. His chin brings him down to their level or below it, and man, that Tsarukyan striking, I would probably rather see Tsarukyan just try to box here and try to test that chin. I know he's a phenomenal grappler. Man, Benny is sneaky on the mat, and I just think that's going to give him some opportunities to maybe catch something on Tsarukyan. Probably not. Tsarukyan gets on top of dudes and literally fucking throws hammers. My only like reservation in this is that Benny is a good fighter, and that's a big line, man. Like we see this a lot. That's a big line on a ranked dude that's a good fighter. But that's still not probably gonna scare me off. And I like Tsarukyan here. I think Tsarukyan is the fucking truth. I think he's absolutely gonna fight for a belt at some point. I don't know if he's good enough at this point to beat the mac and cheeses, the Dobroxes and stuff of the world. Maybe he is. He's going to get his opportunity because he's right there. I think he gets Benny out of there. I'm probably going to put him with Turner. And I was looking at the under 4.5. That's at around minus 135, 140, something around there. And I like Tsarukyan inside the distance. It's sitting around minus 110, something around a pick 'em price. So I like all those spots here. I think this is going to be that's going to be a showcase for Tsarukyan. I know he's known already, but when you go and if you can destroy a guy like Dariush, chin issues and all, that's something. His last big fight that he got against Garmont, like Garmont's Garmont, man. That guy's a tough fucking fight, and that's always going to be a close fight. Those guys might fight again. That's always going to be a close fight between those two dudes. So flip a coin. But yeah, all that said, I like Tsarukyan a lot in this fight.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on this one. I'm past the point of being like, oh, Benny's kind of goofy looking. There's no way this dude's actually athletic. But that Gamrot performance that he had towards the end of last year is still one of the more impressive ones that I've seen in a while. I did not expect that sort of scrambling ability and kind of explosiveness in grappling. So when you said that Tsarukyan should strike in this fight, I'm 100% on board with that. Yeah. I think that is his cleanest path. Just got to kind of worry about body kicks and things like that. But I think that he switches stances enough. He's got a good enough guard that he's not going to have to worry about that too much from Benny. So yeah, I like, there's no way that Dariush doesn't disappoint anybody except in his post-fight speeches, especially when he's facing Do Bronx. I mean, I don't know what you expected to happen in that one.
if you was disappointed by what Dariush against that dope Bronx, man, come on, LR. Like, you gotta smoke a little more, brother, because that shit
We
was
need to have a chat.
inevitable. That was
Yep.
inevitable. Like,
but yeah, I like Tsarukyan in this fight. Obviously, like everybody else on the planet, I'm extremely high on him. The grappling's there. The striking looks fantastic. Honestly, even the striking defense is pretty damn good. So he's been on a path back up towards the title ever since he lost to Mac and Cheese in that short notice debut. Obviously, victory over one of the, I don't know, top 20 paid MMA fighters of all time in old Ohm. Rest in peace. But yeah, he's just a complete package as a fighter, both technically and physically. Benny isn't a bad athlete, but he's still a little goofy when it comes to the feet. I could certainly see him getting clipped in this one. So don't want to go out there and start playing around with totals or anything like that. I think I might just have Armin in a parlay. I don't know who I'm going to parlay him with. Don't want it to be Joaquim Silva or Puna or any of those guys. I'll have to find something to toss in there. Maybe some dog walk overs or something like that. But we'll figure all that stuff out. Wes, that does it for us tonight. It's the last fight we got. Anything that you're looking forward to other than and UFC in the coming weekend?
I think we got a little bit more boxing this weekend. Is it Haney and whatchamacallit are both fighting in the next couple weekends?
That 140 division right now in boxing is it's a good one.
I mean, boxing is in a pretty good outside of the dumb shit, the freak show circus shit. Boxing is in a really good spot right now, man. The best fighters are fighting the best fighters in the world right now, and it's a beautiful thing. It's great.
I think Haney and Regis is next weekend.
That's next. So this weekend is who do we got this?
Ryan Garcia. He's fighting this
weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, Ryan Garcia's fighting.
I don't know who else is on that card. I don't pay enough attention, but also 140 pounds. So
yeah, and then I think my cats are back. I think
they've been treating us well early in the season. We appreciate the cats. So yeah, we've that's about it for us this week. It's weird because I don't have the outro music. Usually we start playing that in the background, and it gets me in the mood to wrap things up. But we'll forgive Sean for missing this one. Good reason for it. Congratulations to you again, sir, if you're listening to this, and hope you get some sleep at some point. But
that's over. That's done for a couple years, bro.
So good luck, and good luck to all you and your bets this coming weekend. We will see you next week, which I think is going to be the last MMA analysis of 2023.